One of the guys in my college dorm has an obsession with Asian women, and his increasingly creepy behavior toward me is scaring me. Posted by u/FrostyDepth. I, Teen F, recently started college. I was super nervous but excited about moving into the dorms and leaving home. My parents and brother came to help me move in and see me off. The dorm building looks amazing. It's one of the newer ones near campus, so it's a modern building, and all the decor is fresh. It's really beautiful. Moving in went fine, there were a few tears, but it was okay. I was super excited to start a new chapter in my life. The rooms are single rooms, each with an ensuite shower and toilet, so there's no need to share facilities. The kitchen is shared, as is a common room area with a TV and sofas. It's shared between 8 people, and we found out it was 5 girls and 3 guys sharing those areas. I met everyone while moving in, and everyone seemed friendly and just as nervous as me. There was one guy, 18M though, who was very interested in me and another girl, both Asian, and tried to impress us with the 5 words of Japanese he knows, and all his anime/video game knowledge. I'm from the Bay Area, and I'm not really all that knowledgeable about my heritage or what's going on in Japan. Even within my family in Japan, we don't really have any geeks for me to learn this stuff from. I brushed that off, as it's not the first time this has happened. My family moved when I was in high school to an area without many Asian students, so some guys were interested in me based purely on my looks. The other girl, I'll call her Trish for this, and the guy, who I'll call Chris, or the creep, but just Chris for short, both stood out. I found out Trish has a boyfriend from high school who comes to visit her and hang out since he goes to a school not very far away. Chris also found this out, as Trish told me he'd been talking to her in the common room. When her boyfriend visited, Chris seemed to lose a lot of interest in her. I didn't talk much to the other 2 guys, but they seemed nice. They told everyone in the dorm about a party on another floor that they were inviting us to. I talked to some of the other girls and Trish, and everyone gets along, which was something I was worried about before coming to college, especially after hearing roommate horror stories. But on to my horror story. Chris also came to that party and pretty much followed me around all night. We spoke a little, but he mostly just seemed to hover around wherever I was, watching me. After I left, he walked back to the dorm with me and another girl who wasn't feeling well. I'd had enough of the party, so I said I'd walk her back, and Chris invited himself to come too. He pretty much ignored her and started asking me questions about boyfriends and if my parents would only let me date Asian boys. What the actual F? Anyway, since the first week of moving in, anytime I'm in the kitchen or common areas, he's there. The only time I get a break is when he has classes, but I don't think he goes to all of them, and he's talking about changing one of them to one of my classes. I've made some other friends and have been eating with them a lot recently. He's even started showing up in the areas where we eat. You could argue it's a coincidence because it's a popular spot for students, but it feels like he's been spying on me. My room has a lock, at least, so he can't come in here, though that hasn't stopped him from trying. One time, I went to the kitchen to get some snacks I had in the fridge that I could heat up and eat while doing some work. He was in the kitchen doing his work and started talking to me. I waited for my food to cook and kind of talked to him a bit. Then he vanished from the kitchen, and by the time I turned around and went back to my room, he was standing in there, just looking around and complimenting my room. I got really angry and told him to leave, and he just kind of laughed and left. One of the guys who also lives in the dorm side and asked if I was okay. I just said it was fine and locked my door. The most recent thing is that I started finding poems slid under my door. It's obvious who it is, and after I told Trish, she and some other girls asked him, but he denied it. After that happened, I found a new poem each day, and they keep getting progressively worse. He's also been telling people that he told his parents about me, and apparently his dad said we'd make a nice couple. He even said he has pictures of me on his phone that I don't know about. This person has no social skills and no concept of boundaries. Yesterday, I had coffee with a guy from my classes as we were discussing some things we needed to read and where to get the books cheap. I guess Chris saw us because he later asked me who the guy was, and I told him it was none of his business. This seemed to make him mad, as he left the common room and went to his room. I was told later that he came out and was pacing in the hallway near my room. I'm supposed to meet the same guy again soon, as he invited me out, and he was nice enough to help me, so I said I'd buy him lunch today. I feel uncomfortable that Chris will be watching me again, and I don't feel safe when he's around me in the dorm. I wonder if he'll eventually get the message and go away or if this will continue. If he does keep following me around the dorm, asking awkward questions, posting stuff under my door, and so on, I'm not sure what I should do about it. He's technically not violated any rules by being where I am, and it's also his kitchen and common area, so I can't make him leave or tell him when he can be there. I just don't think he should get away with this, though. Relevant comments. Commenter. He's definitely into you. It doesn't matter that he hasn't broken any rules, He shouldn't be making you feel uncomfortable in your own dorm. You should explicitly turn him down. Chris, I'm not interested in dating you, and speak to your RA, CA, or whatever your college calls it. Part of their job is to manage relationships between students. A record of his behavior and of you reporting it will be useful if it continues or escalates. Ops response. I think there are definitely some things I'll need to do. I've been talking to some friends for support, and I'm planning to reach out to the RA about the situation. I don't like the idea of him forcing me to move, but I might request a dorm change if it comes to that. I'll also ask them if they can give me some advice on approaching him and making it clear that I'm not interested. It's been hard to get that message across because he hasn't tried asking me out, he just follows me around and posts stuff under my door. Maybe it's a problem they've dealt with before, so they'll understand. I've also decided to start writing down when things happen so I can inform the RA of times and dates. I should make a proper statement to him that nothing will happen between us and that I'm not comfortable with what he's doing. He might just say I'm accusing him of things he's not doing, though, like with the poems. I really don't understand the guy. This isn't a way to get someone to like you, it's done the opposite and made me dislike him a lot for being creepy and racist. Update 4 days later. There were a lot of people who offered me advice and encouragement to deal with my problem, and I want to thank those people first. Since there was interest, I thought I'd provide an update on the situation now that a few things have happened. As I mentioned in the comments on my last post, I had sent an email to the RA in my dorm explaining the issue and asking to speak with her. She got back to me quite quickly and asked if I could come see her. She also wanted to speak to Trish, the other Asian girl he had made comments to and hassled, along with a couple of witnesses, the guy who heard me yell at Chris when he entered my room without permission and one of the people who saw photos of me on his phone. She took some of their statements and spoke with all of us, then talked to me alone for a bit. I discussed things he's done, like following me and asking questions about who I'm talking to, and I brought some poems he had slid under my door as evidence. We talked about what's been happening, how I'm feeling, and about boys in college in general. She shared some of her own bad experiences with persistent guys and showed concern over what had happened between me and Chris, feeling that it needed to be stopped before things could possibly escalate further. She was especially concerned about some quite racist things he had said and the fact that he had pictures of me taken without permission. She said that this should never be tolerated on campus and that she would speak to her superior about our issues. I also mentioned that I wanted to tell him directly that I don't want his attention and that he makes me uncomfortable, and I asked for mediation. She agreed to arrange it. She's a nice person to talk to. I hadn't spoken with this RA much before, but I had seen her around. The RD spoke with her, and he decided he would bring both of us into his office to try and resolve some issues. I was nervous, but the RA I had spoken to before would also be there, and I felt reassured knowing she was on my side. They asked me to speak first, so I told him that I'm not interested in his advances and that his actions have made me feel intimidated and uncomfortable in my own home and around campus. He seemed a bit naive and immature about the situation and acted like he couldn't understand what he was doing wrong, but he did acknowledge that entering other people's private rooms without permission was wrong and apologized. When the subject of racism came up, he said he didn't think what he said was racist. The RD explained that he couldn't say things like that and that it's against school policy to discriminate against other races or make them uncomfortable with those kinds of comments. Chris finally apologized for those comments as well. When he spoke, he agreed to stop pursuing me and to stop posting notes. He was asked to remove photos from his phone, which he did there in the room. He had taken several photos of me around the dorm and was warned about respecting privacy and student safety. He again seemed to miss the point and didn't really understand what he did wrong. Chris mostly just kept asking if his parents would be informed of any of this if he agreed to leave me alone. He seemed kind of angry, but he couldn't really do anything with the RD in the room watching, so all he could do was constantly ask that. Anyway, we concluded that he accepts I'm not interested in a relationship with him. He asked about being friends, and I said I'd prefer we avoid each other as much as possible. He eventually agreed to that too. He again apologized for making me uncomfortable, for the inappropriate remarks he made, and for other things he did, like taking pictures and being nosy. We pretty much agreed to stay away from each other, and the meeting ended. I didn't feel great, but at least I said what I wanted to say. They also addressed what I told them about him wanting to join a class I'm in. They asked if he'd applied to switch to that class yet, and he said he hadn't. They said that if he did, they would talk to him and make sure we were placed in different classes. After that, the RA spoke to me alone. She gave me some leaflets and told me about a course on campus designed to help girls with self-confidence and handling difficult situations at parties and similar events, as well as how to look after myself. She said if I was worried about anything, I could call her, and we could talk. I felt a little better after that, but I was still nervous about dealing with Chris, who now probably felt wronged and like I had told on him. It turned out that after speaking with the RD alone, He requested to move dorms. I was thinking of putting in a request, but I was told he had already done so. I wasn't told the reasons he gave, but I assume he didn't want to risk getting into more trouble. I was informed that the RD and he made some agreements, and it's on record that he was warned about his behavior. He agreed to various measures to improve, including regular counseling. He has also agreed not to approach me or do anything that could be seen as harassment or intimidation, such as watching me, spreading rumors, or trying to contact me directly or through others. He can't enter our floor of the dorm building after moving unless he's accompanied by an RA or campus security. The latter is just in case he leaves and claims some of his belongings are still in the dorm. He can come in with an RA to collect them and will have to leave right after. They'll be there to ensure he doesn't use it as an excuse to cause trouble. He's not banned from the dorm building itself or from visiting other people, but if he's seen loitering outside without any reason to be there, they might consider it harassment or intimidation. He also agreed to never do anything like follow students around, post notes, enter private rooms, make racist comments, and so on. If he breaks any of these agreements, he'll likely face some form of disciplinary action. He's being given a chance to behave himself. The RA mentioned they'd prefer not to simply punish students but to work with them, hoping he can build more positive relationships with others. I'm not 100% happy with him just being warned, but at least he's agreed to leave the dorm. The new building he's in is about a 15-minute walk away, so there's no real reason for him to come here since it's out of the way. He spent one last night in the same dorm, and we both stayed in our rooms, avoiding any interaction. They found a space for him pretty quickly and helped him move the next day, and that was it. He didn't come back to collect anything else, and I haven't seen him since he carried his stuff out of the dorm yesterday. I hope he listens to the warning and sticks to what he agreed to. I want to enjoy myself on campus again without worrying about what he might do. I didn't see him as dangerous, but you never really know. I hope this is the end of the issue so I can move on from this very stupid person.